Okay. Oh, okay, smart, but however, hapo kuna kahol. Yani umepotea. Niko, ni vile sikujangi huku juu. Okay, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to International Girls and ICT Day webinar hosted by Mobi Girls, an initiative under Immobilis. Very, very happy to see almost 40 participants at the moment. So karibuni sana. We are now going to begin our webinar. I know we have quite a number of people who are joining in. We might not be able to introduce ourselves one by one. We would have loved that, but I know that's not possible. So what we'll first of all do, let me just project my screen so that you can see the program of the day. So we'll have welcome and opening remarks from myself. I'm Claire Karani, your moderator. We'll go into a bit of a brief of who Mobi Girls is. I know some of you might know it, some of you might not. So I'll just be doing a very short and sweet presentation of who Mobi Girls is. And then we'll have a keynote speech on the role of women in digital transformation by a very eloquent and amazing speaker known as Nyandia. And then we'll have a bit of an icebreaker and a tech trivia. And then we'll go right into the discussion with our amazing panelists. When I say today, we have amazing panelists from different industries, tech industries, who will be dropping gems. Please make sure you pay attention. And then we'll give a chance to the participants who have questions to go to the Q&A section and then close the webinar. So it will be quite an amazing webinar, short, sweet, a lot of gems, a lot of insights will be dropped. So I would first of all like us to start with a word of prayer. So if you have any volunteer, who could just lead us in a word of prayer as we start our webinar, and then we can get straight into it. Anyone who would like, just raise your hand. It can just be a very short prayer, no pressure. Anyone who would like to volunteer? Evelyn.
Everyone, my name is Evelyn. I'm going to lead you the word of prayer. Let's go ahead and pray. Thank you, Lord, for today. Thank you for guiding us and for being with us all through the week. Thank you for bringing us here. Thank you for helping us to attend the International Girls and ICT Day webinar that we've all been anticipating for. As we connect with the speakers and the panelists, Lord, help us so that we may understand everything that they say. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Thank you so much, Evelyn, for volunteering to pray. Sorry, Sky, I've just seen your message just right now, but Sky, you'll be the one to close the webinar with a word of prayer. Sorry about that. So as I have mentioned, my name is Claire Karani. I am your moderator for this particular session. I also work at Immobilis as a corporate trainings and programs manager. So what I will do, I will just give you a really brief intro to Mobi Girls, because I know most or maybe many might not know who Mobi Girls is. You might know Immobilis, but you are not aware of Mobi Girls. So I'll just do a very brief presentation so that I don't take time for our speakers, who that's why we are here for, and our amazing panelists. So as Immobilis, we are a 15-year-old digital training hub. We are based in Westlands. So over the last 15 years, we've been privileged to train over 10,000 students in different countries, some who have done our online classes, some who have done our physical classes. So the main aim of Immobilis is to create opportunities for African youth so that they can be able to excel in the digital world. So we have won a couple of awards over the years. The very first one being the best use of ICT by the ICT Association of Kenya, and many others. So as Immobilis, these are some of the partners that we've had over the years to be able to conduct many of our training sessions. So we've had Google, Microsoft, Safaricom, MasterCard, Norwegian Refugee Council, and many others who have supported us in our programs. So now, how does Mobi Girls come about? So back in 2016, when Immobilis saw that there were very few female students pursuing these tech courses. So as Immobilis, we have a myriad of tech courses, from software development, Laravel, Python, Android, all these courses. We saw that there were very few women. So what Immobilis did is come up with this amazing initiative called Mobi Girls, with an aim to help and inspire more young women to uptake STEM courses. So we are actually very proud that in 2023, we were able to win this award. It's a very prestigious award by the World Summit on the Information Society Forum that recognized the work that Mobi Girls is doing in helping more young women to uptake STEM courses. So I've already given you a brief of who Mobi Girls is and why we started Mobi Girls. So over the last couple of years, we've been able to train at least 300 women, and this is through partial scholarships and full scholarships. As Mobi Girls, we've also participated in the Safaricom Women in Tech judging panel, which is normally where they do a competition for high schoolers, and have also participated in the Global Technovation contest. So as Mobi Girls, we've done trainings around digital literacy, software development, and graphic design. So this is actually the first grant that we won back in 2016, where we were able to actually have 30 young students participate in this software development course. And as you can see on the screen, the participants receiving the certificates and some awards. And we also actually had a very interesting student who created an application that could detect sewer leakages from this particular cohort. And this application actually got awarded by the UN Habitat. So this is just exactly what I've explained on that particular program. We've also done a global editathon, whereby our Mobi Girls community was able to actually identify women in tech that were doing amazing things, and they were actually able to feature them on Wikipedia. So around Google Africa Code Week back in 2017, Mobi Girls was chosen to run this particular program, whereby we taught kids aged 9 to 17 on how to code using the Scratch programming. So this was a very, very exciting and great initiative for the kids to learn how to code. Around the MIT App Inventor program, so back in 2019, we also had an initiative whereby we had different sponsors come in to sponsor around 8 students, whereby they did a 2 weeks training on basic web development, graphic design, and app development using the MIT App Inventor. And what we did is that from this group of 8 students, they were able to be divided into 2 different groups, and they actually came up with a business plan and a website for their ideas. And we had the top group actually being awarded. So these are just some images for this particular training. Another training that we've done is around graphic design, whereby now this was self-sponsored, where the students came in, learned graphic design. And what we did is we supported them, whereby the top student actually got a contract to design a logo and banner for the intersex community. So as much as they were paying fees for this particular program, the top students got a winning contract. So these are just some of the images of this particular class. Sorry, I can clearly see there's some distortion on the slides. Sorry for that. So Safaricom Tech Innovation Challenge, I think I've just mentioned this. This is an initiative by Safaricom, whereby it's a competition for young women, especially in high school, where they get to pitch their ideas. And as Mobi Girls, we have participated as judges in these particular competitions and also helped in coaching. The WOW Foundation, just a minute, it's a bit, let me see. Yeah, so on the WOW Foundation, this is a STEM camp that we did in Nigeria, whereby we were able to train young women on introducing them to STEM concepts, which was in Kenya and Nigeria. And this was way back in 2015. We've also had the chance to do a bit of job linkages, whereby some of the Mobi Girls community actually do work at Immobilis as either interns. We've had some who now go ahead to work as lecturers, and some who have even gone into the administration department. So where we have opportunities, we do prioritize our Mobi Girls community. And at the end of the webinar, we'll be telling you how you can join the community and also some of the many benefits you get to have. So since 2020, we've actually been holding this International Girls in ICT Day webinar. For us, it's a chance for many more young women to understand the opportunities in tech. So not only the coding, the software development bit, but other emerging trends that are absolutely available for any woman in tech. So these are just some of the webinars that we've done. You can see our amazing speakers, 2020, 2022, 2023. In 2023, we had a portfolio challenge whereby we challenged our ladies to create a portfolio for themselves. And we had the top 5 actually present during International Girls in ICT Day. And as you can see on the screen, the awards that they got, especially the top 3. We've done workshops just to support our audience and our community. So we have done a UI UX workshop with an industry leader. This is just, we've also done sessions around I Am Remarkable, which is a session that was previously managed by Google, but now by Remarkability. So the aim of this session is to help more young women to address the challenges about self-promotion. So I know some of the challenges that women in tech or women in general face is, imposter syndrome. Am I really good enough? Can I really do this? Is it really, is this opportunity really mine, or am I an imposter? So this session really helps to break down, talk about your achievements, talk about your accomplishments, and just helps more young women to be bold in what they have done. So we have done e-meets and greets for Mobi Girls community, whereby we invite our alumni to speak to the current community. So our community has a mix of alumni, people transitioning into tech, and those who have studied at Immobilis on our various courses. These are just some of the e-meets and greets. We've done a tweet chat. We've done a STEM event where we invited technical recruiters to speak on, how to prepare for a technical interview. So this was a very exciting workshop and event whereby we had quite a number of the ladies, come into our offices and get a lot of tips from technical recruiters. So yeah, we've also, as Mobi Girls, we also do collaborate with like-minded organizations such as Tech Sisters Kenya, where we do events, we sponsor some of the events. They had a code series challenge whereby we had some of our ladies attend this particular event. They were able to network with others in the same field. We have volunteer opportunities. So some of the challenges that people do face is that, I might have the skills, but I want a job, but one where where do I show that I actually have experience? So this Skilled Up Life is a great platform whereby if you want to actually now practice what you have learned, you might have studied at Immobilis or wherever you might have studied, this gives you a great chance to actually volunteer your skills. So we've done also webinars around World Social Media Day. We've done tweet spaces or X spaces just around our software developers' life. We've done a webinar on mental health because we know how mental health is very important. You might have the best job, have the most money, but your mental health is not right. So we have done webinars around this. So, these are just some of the plans we have for this year. To support more young women, to continue hosting more webinars and also do more workshops, have physical engagement so that the community can meet and network. Some of the testimonials we've had over the years, and if you have time, we'll play this video a bit later. So in a nutshell, that is Mobi Girls. That is who we are. And we are really glad to be hosting this webinar. I think I had forgotten one important thing. So I know we are quite a number on the call. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put it on the chat section and introduce yourself. So we're not able to do one by one, we would love to hear everyone's voice, but due to the number and the timing, we might not be able to do that. So please do introduce yourself on the chat section. Tell us who you are, maybe what field you are in tech, or if you're transitioning into tech. We would love to hear from you. So please do introduce yourself on the chat section and make sure we mute as we enter. If you have a question, please do raise your hand or put it on the chat. We'll still have a Q&A section. So that is a brief of Mobi Girls, who we are and what we have done in the past. So maybe we can do the introductions as we go along on the chat section. Please introduce yourself. Tell us where you're joining us from. In case you would like to tweet about this session, we have some hashtags and some details. So thank you so much. As we continue introducing our, great. Agnes, hi Agnes, hi Faith. Please let's continue introducing ourselves. We'll be able to shout you out as we continue the webinar. So now I have spoken. Today is really not my day to speak, but our day to learn, all of us. So as per our program of the day, we will be going to the keynote speech. So I will be giving you the profile of our keynote speaker. So just a minute as I pull up her details. So one thing today, please make sure you ask a lot of questions. We'll have really amazing speakers from cybersecurity, software development, digital marketing, AI. So make sure today you shoot your shot and ask as many questions as you would like. So continue introducing yourself on the chat. I can already see most of you are doing that as I introduce our keynote speech. And then after that, we'll have a bit of an icebreaker so that we can be able to now delve into our panelists of the day. So kindly just mute your mic so that we don't have distractions. Yeah, so just mute your mic when you join so that it's easier for everyone. So great. So our keynote speaker will be Nyandia Gachago. She is a mom, a woman, a partner, a woman in business, but above all, a trailblazer. She has a decade of experience as a chartered marketer and strategist. She's built her career at the intersection of marketing, technology, digital innovation, and AI advocacy. She's also the co-founder of Minty Lime Agency. She helps brand create impactful, forward-thinking strategies that drive real growth. So her work extends just beyond marketing. She's also a digital and social activist, passionate about using technology to empower individuals, amplify voices, and create meaningful change. her mission is not to just build businesses, but to build legacies. I mean, guys, with such an introduction, please may I see reactions of claps, because we are really excited to have you here, Nyandia. So if Nyandia, you can just hear me, come on up next. Thank you so much for gracing our webinar, Nyandia. Yeah, very much welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You can hear me well?
Yes, you're very clear.
Okay. Thank you, guys. I'm so excited. I normally don't know what to do when I'm introduced. I get very uncomfortable. I'm sure you guys can relate to this. It's not per se imposter syndrome, it's just that the reality is never quite that settling. I hope everybody is good. Good morning. First of all, it's 10:24 before I say good afternoon. Thank you for the warm welcome. Thank you to the Mobi Girls team for creating this vital space. It's an honor to be part of such a powerful lineup of women who are shaping the digital future of our continent. I'm so excited. I'm in great company. Anything that has to do with girls and women and advancement, I'm always there, 10 toes in. Today, we celebrate more than just technology. We celebrate the power of girls, of voices that have been historically muted in this space, rising to shape what digital transformation looks like in Africa and beyond. So, my name is Nyandia Gachago. I'm a digital strategist, a mother, a marketer, a partner, a proud African woman working at the intersection of technology, storytelling, and change. My journey with ICT, like I'm sure with most of you, has not been linear. It started with curiosity, wondering how digital works, and it evolved into a passion. I went to school for software engineering and networking. That's what my bachelor's is at, which is very interesting. But then further down the line, I went back to school and studied, got Google certified and got into chartered marketing. And now I teach and I do all these sorts of things that are really fun. So I'm literally at the intersection of technology, storytelling, and change. So my passion is using digital tools not to sell products or build brands, but to drive movements, challenge systems, and amplify voices. If you follow me on any of my profiles, you know I'm a big, I don't want to say, well, yes, it's true. I'm a big activist in regards to anything government, any policy. I use my voice where I can and in the right way. And I pray every day that at least it sort of causes a ripple effect so that we can effect change and have the country that we want. So the big picture, why does this theme of today matter now? When we talk about inclusive digital transformation, the question really is inclusive for who, right? We're women in technology. Anybody who is at least above 30, like myself, we know what it's taken for us to get into these spaces, and we know how hard it was. And that's why it's very important to break what we call a glass ceiling, so that the guys who are in school and who are coming in can get to have an easier time than what we transitioned into. The reason it's called a glass ceiling is because it's not real. It's a fake ceiling that is whether created by patriarchy or systems that have been in existence for long that are creating these sorts of barriers for us, women in technology or women in any space that aligns with technology, to advance in the way that they have through the decades. So let's be honest, technology alone does not solve inequality. I mean, we can all see that even with AI as it is right now. In fact, if we're not intentional, we can further deepen the divide. True transformation must include access, education, representation, and power. So, do girls in your rural homes or where you come from have laptops, access to the internet, or just dreams? Are we teaching girls to code and lead, or are we teaching them just to consume? Are girls and women designing the platforms that they're using, or are we just, again, consuming? Do we have seats at these tables, or are we tweeting from the sidelines? This is what we must do differently. Digital tools are neutral, right? It's how we use them that creates changes. So how do we ensure girls are not just included, but centered? This is the goal, is to have girls centered in these spaces that are tech-based and even more. We need to redefine leadership in technology. not to be about degrees and titles, but showing up with ideas, courage, and consistency. Every girl in ICT has a role to play. We need to mentor relentlessly. Those of us in this space must reach back and pull others up. I was watching the Forbes Africa event that was, I think, 2 months ago. And one of the keynote speakers, this lady in Nigeria, who's also in the tech spaces, was talking about, as a woman, when you go into a room and you've stayed in that room for a while and you start noticing that you're the only woman in that room, it's not a chance to celebrate. There is no pride in saying, I am the only woman in this space. It's, if anything, it should be embarrassing. The fact is that you should be creating spaces for women to come in and also be amplified in these spaces that you're in. So we need to mentor relentlessly, create visibility, share knowledge, recommend that girl who is always building, even if she's not perfect yet. We need to design for our realities, build technology for African girls, not despite African girls. We need to stop copying and pasting these solutions that are coming from the West. We need to build what we need, solutions that understand our language, our culture, our context. One of my friends, she's created an AI called Kambo, which is doing its best to translate most AI models and modules into local African languages. So that way you're dealing with the bias and the cultural bias, the sexism, everything that comes with general AI that is adapted from the West. I always use the example that Kibera has over 17,000 NGOs attached to it. But then in the decades that we've been in existence or that we've known Kibera for, why hasn't there been real change? Because African problems require African solutions. Yeah, so these quote unquote girl problems require girl solutions. I'm a strong believer of that. So we need to build tech for African girls. And we need to speak up more. When you have space, even when you don't have the space, create your own space. Whether it's a protest, a panel, a platform, use your digital voice. Algorithms aren't neutral and neither should we. Girls in ICT are not just users of technology, they are builders, disruptors, and architects of the future. You do not need permission to lead this space. You just need to give yourself permission. You need vision, a tribe, and courage. And Mobi Girls has been so kind to create that tribe for us. So the goal here is to commit today to not just learning ICT, but to living it with purpose, with impact, and with a bold commitment to include every girl along the way. As I close, I leave you with this. May your digital footprint be one of power. May your presence in tech rewrite the rules. And may you never underestimate the force of a girl who knows how to code, speak, and lead. Thank you so much.
Wow, what an amazing, amazing start to our webinar. Please, can we all just react to Nyandia's keynote speech? Thank you so, so much for that. That was just a really short, sweet, powerful, and really great start to our webinar. Thank you so much for sharing, your journey, what you've done, and now that you're in AI, I'm sure you'll have lots and lots of questions today because everyone, the buzzword and everything is AI, AI, AI. So thank you so much. I can greatly, thank you guys so much for the reactions here on the comment section. Also, just to thank also all the men who've joined us. I know every time, especially when you say, oh, girls, every time it's like, oh my God, another thing for girls. But thank you always, even for the men who support us. Thank you so much. We truly appreciate you and love to have you here. Thank you, Nyandia, for that very, very powerful introduction. I think we have really set the pace. We've definitely now set the pace for this webinar. We are all ready. We are all geared. We are ready to hear the gems even from many other amazing speakers. So I know in case of any question, anything, in case maybe there's an issue, please feel free to ask. I can already see we have a question. Our hand is up. Winfred, please go ahead. Winfred, I think I saw your hand up. Is there anything you would like to ask Nyandia? Okay, no worries then. So that we keep the momentum, maybe we'll just have a very quick break, just a tech trivia and icebreaker sort of, so that now when we get into our speakers, we are able to okay, great. I can already see we have comments and suggestions coming in. We'll be definitely sure to address that. And that is why we have an amazing lineup of speakers. Maybe even before we do the tech trivia, I can just quickly give you a run through of who to expect today, because we have really, okay, sorry for that. Let me just share my screen once more, so that you can have a feel of the kind of speakers, the amazing forces, amazing women today we have. So we have already had just a sneak peek of Nyandia today. Next, we will have Mary Kambo, who is a trailblazer in the world of cybersecurity. She's been able to blend as her expertise in cybersecurity engineering as a researcher and an instructor. She specializes in security chaos engineering, AI security. There we go again with AI. Cyber resilience, and she's at the forefront of helping organizations fortify their defenses against evolving threats. She includes her journey, or her journey is due to the ITU, International Telecommunication Women in Cyber program. She's also been part of the Standard Chartered Women in Cybersecurity East Africa. Can you just see how amazing these ladies are doing? And she has experiences that has sharpened her skills and deepened her passion for empowering the next generation of cybersecurity. So all those who are really in line with cybersecurity, you have someone here who will be able to guide you. We have Sharon Wawira, who is a front-end engineer with 3 years of experience building responsive, user-friendly web applications using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, frameworks like React, Vue.js. She has a great and sharp eye for design, a love for clean and thoughtful code, and always aiming to create digital experiences that are beautiful and easy to use. So outside of tech, her world is filled with music and travel. Balance. We will be asking these speakers, how do they balance these professional lives, this prestigious professional life that they have with their personal lives? And whether it's discovering new artists, exploring new cities, she's always chasing inspiration. So that is Sharon Wawira. So for all the engineers, front-end engineers, we have Sharon here who will also be able to guide you. And last but not least, we have Valentine, who is a mobile applications engineer, a technical mentor, and writer with nearly 10 years of experience creating high-performance, user-centered mobile apps across various sectors. She's passionate about building impactful mobile experiences and empowering upcoming developers. So everyone who loves Android development, who loves tinkering, who would like to create an application, Valentine might just give you some 2 cents, some tips on how she got started and how you can also get started. So she's an active tech community contributor. She shares her knowledge through technical writing, speaking at events, and mentoring with Google for Startups, Women Tech Makers, and Android 254. We can already start hearing some tech communities, and I'm sure our speakers will also be, encouraging us and telling us which tech communities we should join. So her work has been featured in Kotlin Weekly, highlighted by Google Android Developer Blog as part of the global Android dev journey. So I was not lying when I said we have amazing speakers today. These speakers are forces to be reckoned with. I'm sure they will be sharing their details where you can reach them after. If it's LinkedIn, they will be doing that. But for now, just as a way to give an icebreaker, I will invite Evelyn to just give us a bit of an icebreaker. Right after that, we'll be getting into our panelists. So get your notebooks ready, jot down some notes because they will definitely be sharing with us some incredible insights. So karibu sana, Evelyn, for give us an icebreaker.
Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining. So for me, the icebreaker is the favorite part because you get to know about each and every one of us. This is the only time we get to know like your personality, what you think about, what you like or what you feel in the space of tech or outside tech. So we'll just be asking some questions, and then all of you could feel free to note in on the chat box, or you can raise your hand to speak and give us what you think about. So I'll dive in with the first question. So the first question is, would you rather lose your phone for a week or your laptop for a day? For me, I would just rather lose my phone because I can use the laptop as a phone. Phone for a week. Anyone else? Phone. Lose a phone for a week. So I think all of us are at par. We'd rather lose our phones for a week than not have a laptop. The next question is, what is the first thing you do when your internet goes down? Anyone speaking?
Jijo Tom, your mic is on. You want to share the answer?
Sky is saying that she'll scroll on her phone app. Kellen will check the router and switch it on and off. Start playing Dino game. What's a Dino game, Mwende? Dino game. Okay. Okay, switch to my phone and learn the front end part. Oh, that's nice from Kipto Vincent. The third question is, what is the most unexpected thing you've learned about tech that surprised you? The most unexpected thing you learned about tech? I'll go first. For me, about tech, I just learned that consistency is the key. I think that is what I've learned about tech, because if you learn something and you're not consistent about it, you just forget. Let me repeat the question. What is the most unexpected thing you've learned about tech that surprised you? Valentine says consistency and practicing will keep one going. That's true. Networking is important in tech industry. That is very true. You really need to network to get to know people. And that is actually the reason for having the Moby Girls community. Okay. So another question is, which one hobby or interest do you have outside tech that people might be surprised to know about? That one hobby, that one thing you do outside tech, when you're not coding, when you're not in your laptop, what do you do outside tech? Wow, innocent things. Kai also sings. Faith, karaoke, playing soccer. Wow. Masimwende reading. Okay. Lucy, dancing, cycling. I like watching documentaries. That is neon. Oh, that is nice. Oh, Valentine Rose. Wow. Charlene Cherono listening to podcasts. That is very nice. Who else? Claire, what do you do outside tech? Leah swims. That's nice. Tom reading novels. Prudence likes watching movies. I think I also like watching movies, like Prudence. Okay, the last question will be, if you could invent one piece of technology to make life easier, what would it be and why? What's that one thing that you would invent, or that one thing you'd like to have? Gertrude has given a channel there for creating videos. You could check it out. What's that one thing you'd like to invent? Anyone with any technology they'd love to invent? Innocent Macau says, I would love to create an insurance company for dowry payments once in marriage. Once the marriage fails you, give it back to a certain percentage. Wow. Okay. Anyone else? Masi Mwende, I would love to invent a system that would work with the government of our country. This would help fight corruption. That's nice. Sky app that networks the females together to deal with real issues like femicide, and that can propose to the government something like that. Oh, that's nice. Okay. Oh, Charlene Cherono would love to invent a pause button for life. Wow. A pause button for life. That's good. Neon, a system where you can track matatus, where they are before we get out of the house. Okay, there are so many of them. We'll read them at the end so that you can see what you people would love to invent. Thank you. Those are the icebreakers. Thank you for joining in. I'll take it back to Claire.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Evelyn. I think it has really helped our participants and our audience really engage. And you never know, these inventions that you guys have, here there's a cybersecurity specialist, there's a front-end engineer, I'm sure there's a back-end engineer, there's someone who's maybe in data science. Like collectively, if we actually come together, some of these systems and innovations that you guys are talking about, I mean, creating a website, isn't that possible? So you never know, from this particular webinar, you might just meet your business partner, your developer, your data science specialist. So these things that I see Innocent, you have a question for Evelyn. Yeah, probably you can just put it on the chat so that Evelyn is able to answer the question. So my last activity, and just before I go to the to now our dearest panelists, is just Google your name. I want each one of you to just Google your name. Claire Karani, Abigail Roro, Evelyn Munguti. Just Google your name and tell us which social media page comes up first for you. So just Google your name as it is and see which social media page comes up first. So I'll also do that, and then you just write it on the chat section. Let's see. So for my case, it's LinkedIn. So let me just type it on the chat. So just Google your name and tell us which social media platform comes up first for you. LinkedIn, LinkedIn, LinkedIn. Oh, wow, nice. Okay. Anyone different? Anyone who has a different, okay, so far everyone is LinkedIn. Hakuna mtu Facebook, X, I don't know, another platform, TikTok, LinkedIn. Okay. Instagram. Oh, Sky, that's interesting. Okay. Clearly we see where people put a lot of content. LinkedIn. Nice. Okay. Okay. LinkedIn, then GitHub. Oh, nice. So clearly you're a developer, so you want to have all your projects on GitHub, LinkedIn, Instagram. So far, Vercel. Okay, interesting, Japheth. Clearly yours is the unique one here. Everyone else is either LinkedIn or Instagram. LinkedIn. Okay, great. So now, without further ado, I would love to invite our great panelists. We will have a panel session whereby we'll have various questions for our panelists. So once I am done with the questions, we'll also open the floor to our audience. So we would like to have Nyandia again to join us on the panel. So maybe you can just have your camera on and then I'll be able to spotlight you. We also have the lovely Mary Kambo on the call. So kindly just, join us on this panel session. We have Sharon Wawira and Valentine Rutto. So I was able to, let me just do my best to spotlight our amazing speakers. We have Sharon, okay, let me see. Sharon and Valentine. Valentine, are you able to turn your camera on so that I'm able to spotlight you? I'm also looking for Sharon. So that I'm able to spotlight her as well. Just give me a minute, guys. Sorry, just a minute. Okay, Sharon, okay, I can see your camera is on. So let me just add spotlight. Great. So let me add now Valentine. Yay. Okay. Yay. We have all our speakers now on the spotlight. So just to thank you all for joining us on this panel. So I would like each of you to introduce yourself. So maybe we'll just go, okay, let me see. Mary, Nyandia, Sharon, Valentine. So our first question would be, kindly just introduce yourself. Sorry, just a minute. Yeah. So just introduce yourself, share with us your personal journey and the experience you have in your area of expertise and how it's actually influenced your career path in the tech industry. So Mary, karibu sana, start us off.
Thank you so much, Claire. So, hi everyone. My name is Nyandia Gachago, and I'm a cybersecurity engineer, researcher, and advocate. So, my journey into tech wasn't really a straight one, because for one, I didn't really know that I'd end up working in cybersecurity. As soon as I graduated, I started off as a software engineer, and then I transitioned into cyber tech. And that was guided through participating in various training programs as well as mentorship. And it's been an awesome journey so far. I've really grown so much. Yeah, and over time, I've come to realize that cybersecurity is not just about creating systems, it's also about people protecting their privacy. And that also led me to an advocacy journey where I really empower women in cybersecurity. Yeah, so far that's it about my journey. It's been an interesting one.
Okay, thank you so much, Mary. I think at some point you're having a bit of audio issue. So yeah, there's a point that we lost you. So maybe you can just check on that and then so that you can be good to go in the next one. So thank you so much, Mary. We'll move on to Nyandia, then Sharon, then Valentine.
Hi guys, once again. I'm Nyandia Gachago. Again, I live at the intersection of AI, technology, marketing, strategy, comms, and PR. So anything that pertains to speaking, brands and technology, that's where I live at. I've spent a decade building brands, shaping narratives, and amplifying the role. Now, most recently, the past 5 years, amplifying the role of artificial intelligence in marketing through my creative agency, AI creative agency, Minty Lime. But it wasn't always like this. I grew up, of course, like I mentioned, I went to school for software engineering. Then everybody's like, how did you then end up in the very opposite of that? Because software engineers are very introverted. They're very, there's that perspective. Whereas now I'm in a public space where there's a lot of extrovertedness that is required for me to do my job. And I think I always say, always root yourself into who your ancestors were. We say DNA has memory. So when you find that one thing which you do not struggle with in any way, and you can intersect it with what you went to school for, root that. And that is how I ended up now in digital and marketing and AI. So it's very interesting in that my journey with tech. I'm trying to remember when I went to university. This is just very funny. I'm just one of those people who will say I'm so old, but not really. But when I went to university with my dad to look for, what you want to study, I went to JKUAT. Back then, I don't know if you guys do the same thing, but we used to call it Juja Boys. It was so boy-centric. There were so many bits of girls. I was in the era because I went to camp. When did I graduated in 2013. So I graduated at 20 years old. So you can imagine, well, I went to school early, but you can imagine we were like 3 girls in a class. Nowadays you don't have that. Like these are those stories you hear from your parents, but it really was how then can I integrate my own personality as a woman, as a girl, as a brand activist and someone who likes integrating things. How do I create my own space for girls in this tech world? And that is how I ended up in marketing, because I needed to find a way to get to the brands that are making these decisions in regards to technology. And that was an easy way for me to get into where I can disrupt and start creating more spaces. Because sometimes when you're in it, when you're in it and not at where the table is, you're not able to make those decisions and build those spaces that are required. So that's how I ended up now wanting to manage brands so that I can shift that paradigm to not favor girls, but to be more inclusive of girls, and yes, to favor girls. So I make tech work for people for a living. So that is basically what I do. And I build brands and I build impactful brands for Africa. That is very key for me. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. And thank you for being so relatable. I know many of us relate to what you've just said. So yes, Sharon Wawira, you're up next.
Hi guys, good morning. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can.
My name is Sharon Wawira. As per the introduction, I have 3 years of experience in software engineering, particularly front-end development. But as Nyandia has said, mine started on a different leg per se. I did telecommunications in campus. So mostly you'd expect to end up in companies like Safaricom doing a lot of telecommunication stuff. But when I was done with my degree, I just decided to look at what career choices will be there for someone who's done telecommunications. And honestly, for me, it wasn't it. So I tried to look for courses which I knew I was interested in and what I can pursue. So that led me to discovering things on software engineering. So I started learning how to code at home before even getting a job. So I started learning how to code from HTML, CSS, JavaScript. When I got my first job, I actually got it as an intern for tech support. So mostly working on cloud solutions, how you can embed it into other companies, and I liked with the people I was working with before. But the good thing is I was able to tell them that, by the way, I'm interested in software development full-time, and they connected me to someone who was doing that at the company, and I was able to learn from him, build a project, and sooner or later, like 3 months later, now got another internship as a developer full-time, and that has led me to what I'm currently doing right now. So it's been an interesting journey. I have loved it. It's been tough, but you know, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. So you learn how to be tough also and to acclimate to the environment, especially as a lady, also in a very man-centered, you know, industry, and just shaping my skills and making sure that I am confident and I'm bold, especially with the work I'm doing, making sure that I'm also courageous, you know, instilling confidence in myself, reminding myself that I'm actually talented and I'm brilliant. I can be able to do all these things that other people are doing with ease, so that I can also do it with ease and deliver at the end of the day. Yeah, so that's me.
Thanks so much for that powerful introduction, Sharon. Thank you so much. We can now have Valentine.
Thank you. I hope I'm audible. Yeah, awesome, wonderful. First of all, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. I have my tech journey is so typical. So I was just a young girl. Then the first time I saw a computer, I was I think in class 6, back in the old days. We are old. Nyandia, we are old. So I've always loved computers, always loved mathematics, always loved creating creative things like painting, poetry, and everything in between. So when I was in high school, there was, I think in Form 2, there used to be like a career test. So we did a career test, and the, my results were, you know, I was with my mom, African mom. My results were, I think you would just be a teacher or something. My mother, she had nothing to do. She was like, baby girl, you're gonna do something science. So for my options was either biology or like chemical engineering or something, anything like that. So I just opted to pick computer science, and because it was the easiest. Yeah. So after that, I went to now university. So my background is very typical. Did computer science, skilled my technical skills at Moringa School. Always been building. That is just like the on the CV side, but on the ground, how I ended up in Android, I started building like with Visual Basic. Started coding with Visual Basic, coding games. Tried the hardware, tried everything, and then when in I fell in love with Android in 2015. It is a love story with this one. It's romance. So in 2015, that's when Android was KitKat 4.4. Days of Eclipse, NetBeans, those old days. It was really hectic to set it up. However, I just loved that it had the intersection of UI UX. You can create something, animations and everything. Then you can also use your mathematic, like left side of the brain and the right side of the brain. So it was the perfect balance and fit for me. Yeah, so for the past 10 years now, it should be 10 years. For the past 10 years, I've just learned the Android ecosystem in out, and decided to use my creative side to help businesses, individuals launch their ideas in the Android ecosystem. Apart from the technical side, I really really supports empowering young developers, men and women, just everyone. Like if you want, I don't know, like even if it's Python, I'll go learn Python and help you out. So I'm really passionate about that. I also write technical content. On and off, I'm a bit lazy. You know how it goes. So I write technical content on and off. Apart from that, I also play the guitar. So in case one of these fine days Android Studio decides to kaput, I'm like, we're there on stage. Yeah, that's pretty much about me.
Okay, thank you so much, Valentine. I think one thing that I hope our audience has all noticed is that the stories are very relatable. It's not rocket science. I've not had from 5, I touched a computer. I've never stopped coding. It's after high school. This was the process. So even as, we have a mix, for example, for our audience, our community, it has a mix of people straight out of campus, or rather straight out of high school. They're literally starting, they're not sure, okay, so what course will I do? Or there are those who are transitioning now into tech. So it is possible. And I thank our panelists for, their stories are very relatable. Things that you're saying, it's very true. Even in terms of, even in my class, we only had 3 ladies in a class of like 50 students. So they're very relatable stories. And thank you so much for that, our panelists. So I'll be asking our panelists some questions. So what will happen is, if I pose a question to one of our panelists, after they answer, any of the other panelists can feel free to do an add-on. So I'll start off with Sharon. Sharon, you have mentioned that you are a front-end developer. So maybe just walk us through maybe in like your typical day, like you presented a new project, how do you go about it? How do you do, your UI design? Because front end is a lot of, wow, this website looks so creative, so beautiful. So how do you also measure that this website is functional, but also very creative? Maybe just walk us through that.
Okay, thank you, Claire, for the question. What can I say? So my day-to-day life is, first of all, when you've already carved out the specific product that you need to build for the market, then you have to figure out, first of all, the functionality that is related. So I will use e-commerce because e-commerce is very common. So you see those pages where you've already set, or rather you've decided the package that you want to buy. And then now you have to go and add, either you want to add more items, subtract more items. So the functionalities there would be, if the user wants to add any more items to their basket for that specific type, or if they want to remove items that they've already added, and then the automatic calculation of the price, so that it can also be very clear, by the way, this is this much, and for this number of items, you're going to pay this much in total. Most people would first of all look at the design, because there are a lot of trends currently with modern design. You can see different applications looking a certain way, some of them now looking almost the same. But if you keep following designs only, it will kind of mislead you. First of all, you need to focus on the functionality of the page. Mostly about front-end development is to make sure that you're keeping your users engaged on your platform. If you're having a lot of user traction and you're having a lot of user engagement, it actually makes it easier for your product to boost up also in sales, because many people are interacting with it, and making sure that it's easy for the user to also interact with the page or with the platform in general. Once you have that cast in stone, you already know, okay, these are the functionalities I need. Now you go to the design, you look at the page. Will it be easier if I put a button or an icon? How will this communicate to the user? What would I actually want the user to do at the end of the day? So that will be your basis in terms of designing the page, designing the platform as a general, to make it clear and also easier for the user to be able to access. At the end of the day, drive engagement and traction on your page and on your application. Yeah.
Okay, thanks so much for that, Sharon. I think now that we've had like a front-end developer side and perspective, it would be nice to have an Android developer's perspective. So like on your end, how does your day-to-day look like, Maybe you can share with us, Valentine.
Interesting. So it depends. But majorly, how it looks like, if you're working in a big team, there's usually a UI UX designer, there's a QA, someone to check through your work, there's a backend team also. So all you need to do is like check the designs how they are, and then check the backend logic. Maybe you can use Postman to get the data correctly, and then now implement the same. So translate the UI. You can either use XML or Compose, however you like it, or even Flutter. As long as it works. If you work in a big business, it's usually as long as it works. Then you translate it, you connect it to backend. So majorly from Android, it's just a matter of you get data, maybe manipulate data and show data. That's Android development. And then the bit where is a bit different from web is that with Android there's something we call Android fragmentation. So it means different devices running different OSs. So you need to test, you need to test for all that. So that's the QA part is really important for Android development. Otherwise, your app can work really well on a watch, but then it doesn't work on a phone. So that's how day-to-day looks like if you're in a business. If not, if say I'm working on a consultancy gig, I have to do everything from scratch. So either I'll build the backend, Then design with Dribble. Or sorry, I usually just go to Dribble. Let me be honest. I'll go to Dribble, pick a design for login, and then implement it directly. Or maybe if the customer or the company wants a specific, like to see how design looks like, then I'll just copy paste that. Of course, with adding copyrights, copy paste that to Figma, and then just show them for negotiation purposes. So if you're working alone, it's a bit different. You have to do everything until you're on QA.
Okay. Okay.
Someone
Yeah.
has a
Thanks.
question.
Yeah. So maybe in terms of the questions, because we have a few of them lined up. I think it's Lil Minor. I've seen your hand up. So maybe you can put it on the chat and we'll be able to address that during our Q&A. We'd just like to make sure we finish with this part and then we'll give a chance to our audience. So yeah. So maybe now, sorry? Okay, sorry. So Nyandia, maybe now tell us, we've heard from the developers, the Android developers, the web developer. For you now, how did you get into this AI agency? You know, did it start off as an AI agency? Did you transition it into an AI agency? And also tell us what this ethical AI means in your line of work.
So, first of all, that conversation about front-end design is very interesting because I'm married to a front-end designer, so to a front-end developer. So it's quite hilarious to listen, to listen to it from that different perspective. Yeah. So we started as a creative agency. Yeah. So we do a lot of UI, UX, web, digital, social media, media buying, things like that. However, I kept seeing the same challenge with brands. They need more output. Sometimes some of the brands who are coming in have lesser budgets, stronger relevance. So I started leaning into AI to not just automate, but to amplify and to also be a bit more consistent and on time, and sometimes even produce faster than a client expects. Because then that way I'm not in a position where I need to hire too many people, and then now I'm overcharging the client to manage their accounts. So I started leaning more to AI from Kambo, even before what do you call it? Yeah, before OpenAI was launched, because you still could automate using various tools. Yeah. So we started by doing that, and then we realized slowly that we were able to do more with less. So where I would need like 5 people to manage a single account, I would find that I'm only needing maybe like 2 maximum to manage an account. And yet the work is getting pushed in good time from conception all the way to the end. So we started getting into more tools. We started getting into Notion or Zapier or Make. We started automating our processes from what happens when emails come in to the responses to building your marketing and sales funnel and those processes, so that the human touch, we started eliminating too much of the human touch in the process. So the human touch was at the beginning and to moderate the work that is going out. So we could automate the entire process from conception of, say, a campaign, to design, to video, to anything, literally, almost to even building our own influencer. If we wanted to build an AI influencer, down to how the ads would look like, to segmenting, targeting, positioning, everything that was needed. We could automate the full process. And then towards the end is where now you find a human who now humanizes it. Yeah, if it's missing that. But AI is so good nowadays that even the humanizing bit of it, you might not even need that. So we built now AI-centric systems. So right now our systems are very AI-centric. So you'll find that AI runs 70% of my organization. The 30% being now where we are required to pitch and to give feedback and to now just make sure and modulate everything to be human-centered and cultural-centric, because that's the one bit that you're still needed for, to ensure that the cultural norms of Kenya are still felt in the campaigns that we are doing that. But then it helped us now with brands to work smarter and to scale faster. Now, when it comes to ethical AI, we were having this discussion with a friend of mine the past 2 days. There's an article, a friend of mine, he's called Nelson Amenya, the guy who blew the whistle on the Adani deal. I'll say a lot of out-of-pocket shit here because I'm very much into activism and things like that. So you'll find a lot of stories that I work with for relatability might go back to something that is in that case. So you'll have to excuse me for that. So we did an article that is in the paper today in regards to how Kenya should now, at this point, have an AI minister. So I bring this in just because we are going to discuss ethics in AI. So the joke is that the AI minister does not need per diem. It does not need to go for those weird trainings. They need to be good. What do they call benchmarking? They don't need to go for benchmarking in Malawi. They don't need to do all these extras. They just need to work, yeah, 24/7. They can manage resources, whether it's a finance minister, health minister. And we were using a case study for Singapore, because Singapore has done it for the past 3 years, where they got access. Google gave them access to an AI platform where they could build their own cases, and then they built 1,000 scenarios where they would use it. So right now they're using it for health, for finance, for education. I'm trying to remember the other one. They're using it in, I think, 5 ministries. So you're finding that, and transport, very key. So you're finding right now in Singapore, where there's about to be an influx of an uptake of needing of hospital services, say the system has predicted an accident that is about to happen. You know, you can see accidents like in the next, you can see that car is just funny, or you can see where this is going is not going to be nice. So it's able to predict that and then monitor the traffic that is leading to like any hospital centers within where the accident has happened. So it preps the hospitals. It frees up doctors who are necessary for what is about to happen. So you can imagine how that ecosystem is beautifully working. So there is less loss of life. There is more, it's more precise, it's quick, it's consistent, it's really quite a dream. So that is the basis of our argument of Kenya is ready for its first AI minister. So ethics at this point means building systems that are transparent, inclusive. They don't erase African identity or Kenyan identity per se, and ensure that the data we train on reflects our people, our problems, and our power. There's also, of course, the other part for where if I think the government has introduced a bill where they want to do AI in exams marking, something like that. So in that case, our children's data as a mom, our children's data is protected by the Children's Act, yeah, and also by the Data Protection Act. So where will that data be going? How is it monitored? The sad thing is that Kenya is late into this AI race, right? They just released their own AI strategy that they did using AI, and you can tell the laziness in that document. You could feel it from page 2, and it was so annoying to me. When you compare that to what has been done by even Rwanda or Ghana, who are already integrating AI in their schooling systems, you can see that if already we are not even utilizing it, how do we even get to the ethics part? But you're finding guys who want to discuss ethics before even a teacher knows how to use AI, which is wild to me, because you need to at least, first of all, understand the system to know then how you need to curb that system so it does not hurt you as a nation, as a ministry, or as a school. So AI for me right now is to ensure that it fits into the African perspective, that it's ours, and that's why it's key right now for Africa to build our own AI systems, which we've built and guys are continuing to build. So they reflect our people, our problems, our power. That is how far in ethics it needs, because that alone will include African values. So for example, if it's a matter of pornography, the fact that African values are so strict on things like that, you'll find it's already embedded in these AI systems that we start releasing and implementing. So yeah, that's where we're at in that ethical AI journey. But we're keeping tabs and we're hoping and we're pushing for a shift of policies to where we are actually guys who actually understand AI, even guys who are coding and who are creating these AI tools and AI itself are able to be included in the policies that are being made by governments, both in Kenya and in other African countries. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Nyandia, for helping us demystify this ethical AI. And I think that was very well elaborated. So maybe, yeah, I'll move on to Mary. And in line with this AI, now in your cybersecurity field, maybe you can just share with us just briefly maybe what your day-to-day looks like. Sharon and Valentine was able to share us with that. And that in line with that, maybe how do you integrate AI? So how is the cybersecurity field evolving to meet these new threats in your field?
Okay, thank you so much for this question, Claire. I hope that I'm more audible now. Yeah? Okay. So I believe that AI has really transformed the cybersecurity space with an approach to the threat landscape, how, the bad guys are now executing their attacks, and also for us professionals in how we use AI to defend against these attacks. So you realize that nowadays it's become very easier for attackers, especially the ones that deal with social engineering. This is basically sending you phishing emails. Now it's become very easy for them to craft these messages using AI tools. And back in the day, it was very easy to detect these phishing mails because you'd find like an attacker has crafted it using poor grammar. So you immediately flag the red flags. But nowadays, AI makes it easier for them. Grammar mistakes are like less common now. So let's say it's becoming a bit complicated to detect that. And for us as professionals and defenders, you realize that we're coming up with more tools, and also vendors are integrating AI into these tools. So it makes it easier for the systems to detect and to flag down malicious activity before even you could manually like get into it. So for instance, I also hold a role as a SOC analyst at a financial institution. And what I do on a daily basis is to monitor alerts and logs that are presented into our SIM tool. And you find that the SIM tool in itself, it has an AI engine. So if I'm not able to see something, the AI engine will detect it for me. And all I have to do is just go back to it to verify the alerts that are coming in. So I believe that this is a game changer and a double-edged sword for sure. Yeah, and besides aspects of using AI for tools, the industry in itself is really advocating for the responsible use of AI. So there's also a council, a global council that is, well, it's already been launched, like it's growing actually, it's gaining recognition, and it's the Global Council for Responsible AI. And within this council, you find you have the ambassadors for responsible AI, as well as the governors for responsible AI. And the role is to generally come up with systems and structures where each country or each region is actually integrating ethics into the use of AI. Yeah, so that's it from the cybersecurity end.
Wow, thank you so much, and even for letting us know about this global council. I think that's very key. And now even our audience can, just read up on it and follow more on what they're doing. So maybe I'll go back to Valentine. So if you had the power to redesign one aspect of the Android ecosystem, so what would this be and why?
Fragmentation for sure. As I mentioned earlier, fragmentation is this is so okay. So we have the Android operating system, which so anything that runs Android OS you can build on. So we have Android OS, but then it's running on a watch, it's running on Infinix phone, it's running on Chromebook, whatever it is. But then you are building just one app and you need to test for all that. So I think I'll just borrow from iOS, because in the iOS ecosystem is if they're using a specific library, say to do let's say for example Cocoa Pods, they get that they use that to get their dependencies for the
You're on mute, Valentine.
oh no they have
Technology.
technology. So I would say that with Android ecosystem, I will borrow from iOS and make it a bit more controlled. And it's a with Android is a double-edged sword, because Android it's open source, so that means it's supposed to work that way, but then it's now biting us in the ass because we're building only one thing, then we need to test for everything else, especially with Huawei. It fails all the time. With Realme, like those Xiaomi, those phones, it breaks all the time. So I think I will fix that. Or if I can't do it and allow it to work the way it is, maybe just create a better legacy support. This is something that has been in conversation with Android for a very long time. Their best response has always been, let's not fix it, let's build something new. Let's build something new. So yeah, it's a headache because it also like makes it really difficult for someone to start with Android development. Because they're like, where do you start? And also it makes it difficult to just wow. So don't mind me, too many Jira tickets. It makes it difficult for you, like when you want to start, where do you start? So you need like a very guided, um, guided learning process. It makes it difficult for you to test things. Um, what else? It makes it difficult for. I mean, it just makes it difficult for even IT support, basically. But we manage. We manage, and I still love it. It's still my number one love. So yeah, I will change fragmentation.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Valentine. Maybe I can also open it up to our other panelists. Is there any area in your field you feel like if I had the power, this is the one thing I would change? Maybe you can also share with us. Anyone?
Okay. I think if I was to change one thing in my field, it would be the number of men in it because it's very male dominated. Like women, I just go all over the world and tell everybody to join this space. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. At least, yes, thank you so much, Mary. We need to campaign for more female cybersecurity specialists for sure. And Sharon, Nyandia, are we good in our fields? Nothing to change? All good?
I think, I mean, every CMO that you know is a woman. So I think, like she said, the best thing right now is to shift the fact that heads of marketing, PR, comms, the people that actually speak for brands are women. I think it's just now more of a trickle-down effect into the other now, the CTOs, the chief technology officers, the CEOs, the finances. I think that's where now we need more of a trickle-down, which you would think would be the case because a lot of HR officers are women, right? So you would expect, the paying forward. I'm not saying hire because you're a girl, but at least give a stronger shot because she's a girl and she comes with more than most men come with. So I do wish that's something that we would actually be able to implement. And one thing that I would hope for, that I try and advocate for a lot, is I would really shift the way girls are self-critical, because the reason, one of the main reasons why girls don't shoot their shot in these big jobs is self-critical. There was a study that was done where men will apply for a job if they are at least 50%, they're like, I think 50%, I get it. Women only do it if they are 70 to 80%. If they perceive, first of all, I think that's important to even mention, if they perceive they're at least 80% qualified for that job. Let me tell you, sometimes it's good to just be a bullshitter. I would find like a CEO of Safaricom job and I'd really apply for shits and giggles just because it's just, what's the worst that can happen? They won't beat you. You know, the worst that can happen, I always say someone will come and beat you. But I wish girls and women, we were a bit more, confident in the bullshit. I always say move with the audacity of a white man. It will take you so far. Sometimes that is needed because outside of that audacity of a white man is the fact that we actually know a lot of what we talk about. So that would be the one thing that I'd actually really change, is audacity.
Great. And I think we need more of these forums for us to tell the women, you can do it. You don't need to, no, just go ahead, just do it. you fail, you learn, you repeat, you succeed. So I think we need more of these forums for sure, so that more women can be encouraged. Because you can imagine there's a woman out there who knows nothing, who feels that's a man field. Why am I in STEM? No, I should be in other female kind of professions. So yeah, Sharon, maybe now you can tell us what's one underrated part of being a developer that nobody talks about but is super important.
Um, I think I will talk on my own experience. First of all, the first and most important thing is you need to know the concepts, especially the basic concepts and the fundamentals in terms of development. Right now, there are so many languages that are coming up that would look very enticing. Things like, as much as I use it, React, Vue.js, other languages like Svelte, and most people would want to learn that. But if you do not know the fundamentals and the basics of development, you'd have completely miss the mark. Absolutely. You learn a lot of things, but if you move to a different industry and they're not using that language per se, it will be a bit harder for you to acclimate to what they're currently using, to shift your focus from, let's say, a very popular language to something that is very fundamental and is needed. So for example, for Valentine in Android, I know people are moving towards Kotlin. There are some people who are still using Java. But if you do not understand the basic things and the most important things, trying to use Java and this Kotlin would be a little bit of a challenge. So I would say most especially understand the fundamentals of development as a software engineer or software developer. Then with that, you can be able to see, okay, now which language is going to be needed for this specific application and what the use case is. Then you can be able to decide the language that you use and so on and so forth. The other thing is to be your own advocate. You cannot expect somebody else to stand up for you. You need to advocate for yourself in terms of your skills, in terms of the work that you have done. You need to stand up and say, by the way, I have done this, I have accomplished that. If this was broken, I have fixed this using this and that and that. If you rely on other people to just see what you've done, but you cannot explain it, somebody else might take credit for your work. And then you'll stay in the exact same place wondering why I'm not moving forward and my colleagues are, but you've not been advocating for yourself in that space, either to the public or where you're currently working or where you're volunteering. You need to be able to stand up for yourself and advocate for yourself and say, this is what I've done, this is what I've achieved, this is what I'm learning, this is what I've learned, etc., etc., so that you can be able to at least see growth in terms of your career path. Yeah.
Great, that was powerful. I genuinely don't have anything to add on to that. That was really, really powerful. Any additions from our panelists? Okay, fine.
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
Another one is communication. So just to tie up on like advocating for yourself, it's also really, really important. So tie that with communication. Learn how to communicate and professionally, like I don't know, use ChatGPT, whatever it is, but really, really do learn how to communicate because especially as women, we'll find like, well, as everyone has said here, we work with men. Like I barely get to work with women, even like with my 10 years of experience, barely. So you find yourself that you enter into a meeting, you're the only one, and then men just being men, they're loud. Like sometimes you end up you're in the same team with a guy and you're the one who did everything, but then he'll just come and take credit. Or more like he won't even try to say like, I don't know, I was helped by so and so. So always advocate for yourself and communicate. Learn how to communicate, please. Yeah, you can learn how to. You can. I mean, right now we have ChatGPTs and they can plug you with an agent to help you.
That's true. That's true. I also think be your own ambassador. Do not be swallowed by your employers. Like, it's very important, in as much as you get into employment and you love your employer and you want to talk about your employment place and all these things, do not forget who you are. Use your social media platforms for that. Learn, teach, give insights, all these things. I think that's one of the ways to make sure that you also remain relevant in your field to outside people. So it's very important for you to always maintain that individuality exclusive of your employer.
Great. I think what I'm hearing from our panelists is be your own advocate. Shout out what you're doing. Don't sit there and be like, I just helped kidogo. Just say it out loud. The more you say it, whatever you did, be the first one. So our assignment as community members of Moby Girls should be, okay, fine. I need to do something out of my comfort zone. It's not always that other person presents. You could be you, fine. Okay, today let me lead this meeting. That's how I think we can build our confidence in the small things. And that's how when someone says, oh yeah, yes, I'm the one who did this project, so and so might have done this, but I am the sole owner. So thank you so much for that. Mary, you have participated in quite elite mentorship programs. You mentioned Standard Chartered, Women's Group. So maybe just tell us, how did this, first of all, how did you get these opportunities? Because I know there are many of our members, they want these platforms, but they don't know how to go about it. So maybe how did you get such opportunities, and how did they actually influence your path?
Okay, so for me to join these programs, I actually applied for them. So with Standard Chartered, they had this program that was in partnership with Strathmore, and they were selecting 100 women across East Africa. So I was fortunate enough to be selected, and through that particular mentorship program, I got to learn of course, to gain skills because we had some training sessions. And on top of that, it built like a community for me. So I didn't have to feel like I was in this particular journey alone. Yeah, and as well as the one for ITU, it was just the same process. They had a call for application. I applied and got into the program. So what I'd say is that mentorship is actually very critical for women because women are most of the times underrepresented and underestimated for sure. So when you have someone showing you the way, you get to have this feeling like, oh, so there are women who've gone before me and they've been able to accomplish all of these things. So you're able to pick up from that. And it's kind of like a shortcut to success as well. Because when you feel stuck, you can reach out to your mentor, she'll guide you. And also, when it comes to jobs as well, you'd find like most of the time your mentors would offer you recommendations for some jobs. So it makes the process less tedious, let's say. Yeah, so I encourage women to apply for a lot of mentorship programs because it will give them that space for them to thrive, to feel secure, like a really, really safe space for them. Yeah.
Great. Thank you so much for that. And just showing us the power of mentorship for sure. So I know there are very many other mentorship programs, not just those two. And I think all we need to do is just apply. Again, shoot our shot. I think the underlying meaning from this webinar, shoot your shot. If it's a mentorship program, if it's even a mentor, like if no one even just goes and says, Nyandia, you're in this field of AI, I really want, can you mentor me? Like, this is the opportunity. You have a cybersecurity specialist, you have an Android engineer front end. Guys, this is the opportunity you have from such amazing mentors. And now moving on to you, Valentine. So your work has actually been featured globally, including on the Google Android Developer blog. So what would be your advice to young women in tech, either transitioning into tech or starting off in tech, who want to contribute to open source or even just publish technical content? How do they go about it?
Thank you for the question. To answer it as a senior engineer, I would say depends. But seriously though, if you want to start, just start. So the okay. So first of all, I'm assuming you've seen like there's open source or like technical content. You need to first of all you need to sit down and decide what content do you want to be putting out and on what medium, and also defining like what's your why, you know. So you need to define all that before you start. So define your medium. So if it's blogging, and also that when I say defining that your why, you also need to understand yourself better, so that you don't start something like one day, and then next week you don't do it, you don't want to do it anymore. So understand your why, like why you're doing it, create a system, understand your why, then decide how you want to share your content. So if it's like Medium, TikTok, social media, whatever it is, and then create a system so that will allow you to be pushing out the content. So the system that I use is which is also like tied to me upskilling. So I usually have something like a spreadsheet of, well, let's be honest, I write things down. So I have a notebook. So I always write. I do like a quarterly kind of review, then break it down into weekly. So I do wonderful. So I do I go to roadmap.sh, then check the roadmap for Android development, then check like what are my strengths, which side I'm not that good at, and then I pick a topic, learn that topic, build that topic, either on public or not, and then now write the content. So writing is like the last step, kabisa. So what I do is, say for example, most of my talks for there's a blog that I did this year. Yes, the one which was featured in Kotlin Weekly is on camera. So with Android fragmentation, there was an issue where camera was upgraded, so it works on Android 29, but then doesn't work on like 34 and 36. So I suffered. I suffered with that one. So I had the task, fixed it to work on all devices, and then did a talk on it, and then pushed it on GitHub, and then now publish it. So that's my system. That's the one which works for me. So with that, I'll have I've updated my GitHub. Yeah. So so the way my system now comes together, I've updated my GitHub. I have a blog post. I've already created visibility, and at the end of it all, I have learned something. So that's how it works for me. So for you, you can decide, say, if you want to, you can just pick a side, because with Android, the ecosystem is really huge. So you can pick either if it's a security, performance, UI, UX, whatever it is. So pick one, decide like what do you want to achieve at the end of it all. So what is your why? If you want to upskill, you want visibility, you want to create whatever it is, yeah. And then now you start now creating the content. And when I say creating this system, or defining the system that works for you, you start by building in public. It can start, just build in public. I'm telling you, build in public, whatever it is. There's on LinkedIn, I saw Cyril posted something today that is quite controversial. He said that he mentioned Tech Bro will build AI agents, and then LinkedIn, everyone is just quiet, everyone is blind. And then a Tech Babe, and then I know. Then a Tech Babe, everyone is like, wow, oh yeah. I saw it, I was like, yeah, okay. And here we are. So do not get discouraged by the lot of naysayers and a lot of you feel imposter syndrome, whatever it is that you will feel. There are so many emotions that come to it, so you need to, it will also like allow you to expose you to this whole dimension where when you start facing like, oh my god, am I good enough, and then you start building resilience over that. Because imposter syndrome is real, I face it sometimes, but I just show up anyway, which brings me now to my next point. Keep showing up regardless. If you want to say, like, I'll just let me, because I do a lot of blogs, so let me just talk about blogs. Sometimes I will have I have a lot of drafts, so I'll have a draft and I'm like, oh my god, this is not ready, and then I post it, I'm like, oh my god, it's actually really good. So you have an audience. Even that hello world of yours, you have an audience. So push whatever it is, and then now later on you start now you start now redefining now what is now your why. Like, okay, now I have audience, now like what next? Now what is impactful content that I want to push up, like that. So it's a, what is it called? It's a circular, always ongoing, continuous process with tech content. And the ones also, by the way, you can earn through it actually. I've been seeing TikTok. I've been eyeing TikTok. So you can earn from it as well. And it doesn't have to be technical like programming. It can be anything. It can be the best AI agents right now or tech news, whatever it is. So just start, then iterate from there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, Valentine, for taking us through your process. I think anyone who wants to go into that line of work has now an idea of where to start. So I'll move on to you, Nyandia. Maybe just, tell us of one campaign or project that made you realize the power of tech and the power of tech that can have to reach audiences.
Oh my gosh. There's so many, but there's one very, very obvious one. Finance Bill 2024. That is the one campaign where you could feel the power when we sat and dissected that bill and created formats in local languages and distributed that on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and WhatsApp groups. And anything we could do to make sure that it got to our parents and our grandparents and our siblings, that is one of the most impactful and powerful campaigns that I have ever seen, because it was a campaign that was not even a campaign. It was not paid. It was just organic. Like, we all just got angry and everybody started doing their own thing. And somehow, because there was one goal, it all made sense. The entire country witnessed how digital activism in memes, in videos, in posters that were generated by AI, in posters that were generated by UI, UX guys, because we had everybody there. The fact that we created our own USSD for you to tap into and to know where the protests were hot, where the cops were hiding, where all these things were happening, the Twitter storms. We had a Twitter space that lasted for 8 hours. The fact that the president was forced to come and address us on Twitter, I think it was a national megaphone. It is unlike anything that has ever been seen. And I know people keep trying to do it the same again, and possibly at some point it will land, but that was the genesis of what an impactful campaign that is driven by selflessness and hope and wanting better can do for people. It reminded me that the same tools that we use for ads and content can also spark revolutions. Yeah. So tech babes, you stop just going there when tech bros are building things. You're hyping them up. You need to stop being hype men, by the way, like for real. Like, avoid hype your man. Like, that is, or your woman, whatever you're into. Like, we don't discriminate. But these are the people you should be hyping. Keep it there. Keep it in-house. Like, hype other people when you also are being hyped, because you also have something to be hyped for. Don't hype only without then also doing your own thing. I think that is going to help us also sort of reduce the bias that is in the ICT community. But tech is very, very powerful. And even as the people who use it, the people who create tools for people to use it, people will show up. That was my most heartfelt campaign that was not even a campaign that I've seen built. There are others that have come up recently, campaigns that come from, say, billboards that then make it to social and it becomes this whole movement. So you always see these things. I always put it out on my LinkedIn. You can check out most of my socials. I always put it out on my socials, mostly on LinkedIn. I release white papers on this with my thoughts and expertise on the matter. But yes, finance bill was the thing for me.
Yeah, we definitely agree with you. That one, we all united as a nation. We were all one. We did not care about tribe, nothing. We were all one, and that was an impactful campaign.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. I'll open up just 3-4 more questions, and then I open up to our audience who are itching. So thank you to our panelists. I can already see you're answering our audience on the chat. So maybe I can have anyone, just feel free now to answer these few questions that are remaining. Anyone who wants to share, a gender bias or challenge that they experienced in their career, maybe feel free to share and let us know how you you maneuver this particular challenge so that our audience can know, qua ground, what actually happens, when they start their corporate jobs or when they start their freelancing, what should they expect qua ground?
I think I can go first just because I was like hyper ready for this question. I want you to imagine you walk into a boardroom, you're the youngest, and there's a chance you might be the only girl, and the kind you already know, like there's just a look, and then you have a nose ring, you have a septum ring, and you have dreadlocks, and you don't colored dreadlocks at that, and you don't look like anything that they want you to look. I'm a fan of suits. I wear suits a lot, but I wear pink suits and purple suits. I don't wear black suits and brown suits. I wear anything. I just like color. I'm a mother of girls, so anything that I wear is very happy. I wear things that make me feel good, that brighten up not just my day, but the people who are around me. Like when I go somewhere, someone is like, that is just funny. You like guys make this joke that I dress like Brufen because I have like two pink suits. If you know Brufen, you know. If you know, you know. You can go to my Twitter, go to my LinkedIn, my Instagram. You can spot that suit. So obviously, like I dress like my child's medicine. It's hilarious as hell. But first of all, that's how I prepare, is that I make sure I look nothing like anybody who is going into that meeting. That is on purpose, because that in itself will create me as a point of don't fuck with. I am not going to be intimidated. So that alone, that attitude, and then I make the point to be the first one to introduce myself, just to make sure nobody gets my name wrong. We don't confuse issues here. I am here by right. I am not here because you thought I was a cute thing to have around, or I was, I can speak that English of nose, or I look a certain way. So no, I am here because I'm supposed to be here. If anything, there's a high chance that I possibly know more on the matter than you guys, because so a lot of this technology that's coming up is technology that we are the ones who are growing up with it, as opposed to the older generation. So I have turned that into a momentum where I go in and I own the room, whether it's by my presence, whether it's by how I talk, whether it's by my silence as well. Sometimes your silence speaks a lot. I get into a room and I read the room. But the one thing I always do is I make sure I'm the one who introduces myself, and I introduce myself correctly, from how I pronounce my name, the way I want myself to be addressed. I tell them exactly how they should address me and how they should, if they're going to come, they should come correct. That sets the pace for me. How I sit, these small things that help girls in boardrooms, how you sit, the positioning of your chair, not like at your physical self, but even your chair, how you make sure your chair is positioned, the position in which you sit at, how you talk, how you silence yourself, how you greet people. Those small things that we learn in comms, and also we learn because of experience, and we've been in these spaces for long because we are older. So there is those things that are necessary for you to adapt to and to learn. And a big part of how you learn this is also by following the right influencers. Influencers in that thought leaders. Look for people who look like you, who are older in these fields, who can teach you these things. And I don't even mean guys like us. I mean there are guys in their 50s. And they don't, by the way, have to be Kenyan. Like one of my most impactful influences is a Black American woman who's been in corporate for like 30 years. And the way she teaches you about being Black and female in Fortune 500 companies resonates, whether you're from Kenya, Nigeria, the US itself, or whatever. Look for these positive, powerful women influences that embody that which you want to become. That way it's much easier for you to walk in those shoes and to walk sooner than those of us walked. Because for us, it took us years. For the older generation, it took them decades. For you, it should not take you that long, because there's already blueprint that you can follow into owning rooms and making sure that they don't even have that gap to have any sort of bias towards you, whether it's gender, whether it's racial, whether it's ageism, sexism, anything of that sort is all dependent on how you're going to walk into and how you're going to present yourself and own that room. Yeah. So yes, while I've had this bias, I've also created spaces where I make it very uncomfortable for you to have a bias against me, so to say.
Very powerful. Thank you so much, Nyandia, for sharing with us your story. Maybe we can now have someone else tell us how they balance their professional growth with their personal life.
Am I audible or?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, I'm seeing a notification here that something went wrong, close the browser. Okay, so I think I'll just have to do without the. Oh, I can start video. I'll see my life. Technology. Okay, so first of all, work-life balance is a myth. It doesn't exist. Disclaimer: it doesn't exist. Something has to give, regardless. So by that I mean, okay, there's this term that I used to when I was like at least five years in the industry. I was like, there's work-life integration, but later on I realized that what I was doing was I was compromising, hanging out with friends. I was compromising life basically, because most of my weekends I'll be in a hackathon somewhere, I'll be in a conference somewhere, then I'll call it life. But that really wasn't the case. So now, as I've grown much older and I really like to create and stabilize my life, I realize that some things have to give. So things like, like I operate with a calendar with my friends. Yeah. So at least so that we can leave the group chat, you know. So so work life balance does not exist. What exists is your own priorities and uh, what's the word for, like when you're supposed to do something and then you tell someone else to do it for you. So you need to be really good at prioritizing your task and then deprioritize or give it to someone else to do it for you if it's possible, so that you can at least free up time. And the higher you go, say like if you're in managerial role, then it even becomes harder and harder and harder. So for me, the way that I've been able to at least have a bit of life is to work in day blocks. So say like Monday I'll be working so that I can still have my friends' time, time for life, time for upskilling, time for things like this, for example, time for community work, and also time to just do absolutely nothing and watch Netflix. So so some people do it like in hour, but for me it works best if it's days. So if Monday to let me just share my schedule. So Monday, Thursdays, and Fridays, I build Android native. So anything to do native. And then Tuesday, Wednesday, and I think, yes, Tuesday and Wednesdays, those days are for Flutter. And then I have Saturdays, either is for tech community work, and tech community work and just deprioritizing. Then on Sunday, that is my day, like complete shutdown my day. So I have to reprioritize the week, plan for the next week, check if I'm still on track with whatever goals I had set for that whole month, and then hang out with friends. No, they're for Saturday, unless, because I mean, I am still young in life, so if I hang out with my friends, I won't show up for work next week. So yeah, so I do a day-to-day blocks for life, but work-life balance doesn't exist. Just know that unless like if you find yourself you're having too much free time, you need to ask yourself, like, what are you doing? Because you're doing something wrong. You should be complaining that your day is too, it's too short, unless that is how you want to live. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Valentine. Mary, you have an add-on.
Yeah, I have an.
Okay.
So for me, I feel like it's a bit easier for me to plan my, because for one, as an analyst, you're working 24/7, but working shifts. So if, for instance, this week I'm working between 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., then I till the next day that get up on screen, maybe joining the gym, playing tennis, watching a movie, like whatever it is. So I feel like having a structured timeline really makes it easier for me to balance.
Okay, thank you, Mary. We might have lost you a bit at the end. Audio kidogo went left. Yeah, so sorry?
Oh, I'm saying sorry about that.
Okay, no worries. Sawa, sawa. So maybe one of you can also share how they stay up to date and continuously grow their skills.
I think I'll take that one. So staying up to date, I remember my journey, especially now when I was coming into development and having I've done telecommunication in campus, I didn't do a lot of coding classes, only like 2 of them because it's just part of the course. And back then I wasn't interested at all to become a developer. So my mind was fully focused on doing anything else other than being a dev. But when I realized later on that this is what I actually want to pursue, I was always online. TikTok, Instagram, looking at other people, what are they currently doing? What skills do you have? What skills are needed? You do a lot of research on platforms like Reddit. What languages are being used currently in the software development space? How can I upskill? So it's a lot of research, seeing how other people are doing it, how other people have done it. Then look for specific courses. If it's going to register to a school like Moringa, or if you be a self-taught developer, what platforms do you want to follow? Like, let's say on YouTube, what tutorials are relevant? When you're searching online, what tutorials will be relevant? Taking certifications and courses, etc, etc. Don't do them because it's popular, but do it because it's needed in the field that you want to pursue. Not everything popular will be relevant for you as an individual, but look for something that you'd want to contribute to either now or also in the future. So something like AI, as a dev, you can learn how to create AI models, how to integrate AI into your day-to-day tasks. How am I going to be able to do this, especially if I want to grow and create models in the future? What languages do I have to learn? What skills do I need to have? So you can start pursuing it either from the career path that you are on currently, or what you know is going to be relevant in the next 5 to 10 years. Most people who did a lot of machine learning and AI engineers who started, like, let's say 3 years ago upskilling, right now they are quite successful because they learned some time back, and they're taking advantage of the opportunity in the current curve to continue scaling up and also grow professionally. So that's what I would say. If you're working in corporate, or if you have a day job, a 9 to 5, make sure you always schedule time either early in the morning or after work to make sure that you're following up on your courses, that you're doing practice projects, etc, etc. You will always move forward if you're constantly practicing, if you're constantly upskilling, making time. And one thing I would say is, don't wait on motivation. If you're going to wait on motivation, you won't actually do anything. You need to be disciplined 24/7. So that would look like either staying up late or waking up early, or if you are going to an after work event, maybe scheduling some 2 hours either after or before the event to do something that is going to help you upskill in your projects or in the thing that you want to do. But you need to make sure that you're disciplined. Motivation can kick in once in a while, but if you rely on motivation, you won't do anything. And what I've also learned is consistency compounds like a lot. So anything that you do on a day-to-day basis, even if you're contributing something small today or a bigger chunk the next day, after a certain period of time, you'll see that you're actually making a lot of progress. So be consistent and be disciplined. Yeah.
Wow,
I also
amazing. Yeah. Nyandia, go ahead. Yeah, sure.
Just to add on to that, money is a good motivator. So if you can monetize your skill, that will be more than enough to keep you going. The fact that you can even make it task-based. Sometimes when you're very right-brained, I think, when you're very right-brained, you might need those tasks that are very, they have a goal. Find a reward system that works for you. That way it's easy to get. And in this economy, money is the biggest motivator. So if you can figure out how to monetize your skill, and monetize it, whether it's making posters for guys, for example, if you're in campus and maybe you're earning that 500 bob per poster, whether it's creating prompts for guys, things like that. Find one item that maybe you can route to money, so that in this economy, you're able to keep your lights on, and at the same time, it's giving you some extra money to do something. For me, in terms of staying up to date and continuously growing my skills, I'm on Discord. One of the most fun places to be is in AI and marketing Discords. So you get to know technology that has just launched, technology that launched and maybe isn't available in your area, Telegram groups, Twitter spaces. And I'm also a fan of testing tools the minute they drop. And in turn, once I test them, I teach on them. So you'll always find like articles out there on LinkedIn, on Twitter, telling guys to use these specific tools for whatever it is they need it for. And then in that teaching, I stay learning and I stay woke. Because right now in this tech world, stagnation is not an option. If you're not able to evolve, you become irrelevant very quick. So find communities that work for you. I find, like I said, my partner is a front end. So you'll find him in a lot of front end groups and Discord groups, whether it's Facebook groups, communities, anything, you'll find him there. So there will always be someone who's asking a question about something that you don't know. And so it keeps you like in tune with what's happening out there and here as well. So that's key.
Thank you so much for that addition. And in our audience, we have job seekers, people who are looking for employment, internships. So maybe if you have any, in your current place of work, do you guys have any opportunities? If there are, how can our audience apply? How can they make sure they're up to date? If there's any opportunity, they're the first to know. Maybe you can share as the panelists.
So in our organization, no, there's no opening at the moment. However, I always post and repost jobs whenever I find them. And where I get them from the communities that Nyandia was talking about. So there's a lot of WhatsApp groups and channels. So I get them from there. There's Specia Tech, there's Tech Jobs. I don't know how to share them. If I can share the channel, I'm not sure how to. However, if you can, like there's Specia Tech. So good thing is they're always on WhatsApp and they're on Telegram. That's the beauty of it. So for Tech Jobs, so that you are in the network of who is hiring and who isn't, re-evaluate the people that you follow on social media. And that's just also like ties down to whatever Nyandia was saying on communities, because you need to find your tribe. So if you follow, social media is the biggest network that so many people misuse. If you follow the wrong people, then that becomes your feed, that becomes how you think, that becomes who you become. So be careful on who you follow. So if you follow the right people, especially people who are hiring, like just follow Specia Tech, for example. Follow Specia Tech, and then you go and follow now who they are following, and like that, you build your own ecosystem there that will allow you to also upskill and get jobs from. Yeah. And actually use Twitter. You can go to LinkedIn later on, just go to Twitter, because they usually post there.
It's the same for me. Currently not. However, we'll be expanding the second half of the year. So you'll always find that on my social media or in my agency Minty Limes pages. But again, we're in these forums where there's always jobs, always jobs. Follow the right forums. If you're looking to get into digital marketing, AI, tools for marketing specifically, and things like that, look into communities that fit that. You can look into top marketers, AI Ready Africa, and things like that. Then that way you will never at any point miss opportunities that come up, in East African opportunities, that, to be precise.
Yeah, I think the same thing. At the moment, no available opportunities, but I feel they're constantly being updated. Yeah.
Same case for me. I think the opportunities that we have was for some internships opening, but I think they're closed at the moment. But I'm sure maybe they'll be reopened either end of Q2, beginning of Q3, thereabouts. So I'll keep checking. But for those who will be interested, they'll just check on the NCBA site, the career site. They usually post a lot of job openings there. I'm sure you'll get something that will be relevant. Yeah.
Okay. Sawa sawa. Thank you so much, our panelists. And now, last but not least, give us your parting shot, advice, a guidance, and also mention, I think this is something that a lot of people have asked, maybe communities. So ideally communities that they can join in order for them to continue in their career path. So it's cybersecurity, AI, digital marketing, recommend some communities that they can join, and just sum up, what is your parting shot for our brilliant audience today? We'll start off Nyandia, Sharon, Valentine, Mary.
Oh gosh, I don't even think there is like a proper parting shot for this, given how intense we've gotten into the conversation. I think the biggest thing is to make sure you're always upskilling, and other than upskilling, cross-skilling as well. Find products that are related to your art form and get into those as well. The world is changing a lot. So the more broad you can make your ecosystem, the better it's going to get for you. It doesn't hurt learning a thing or two about digital marketing, even if, for example, you're in coding, as Valentine was saying, because it gives you that platform to put out your work in the right way and in the right spaces. So always cross-skill and upskill. Then that way you remain relevant. Another thing I always say is find one thing that you're really insanely good at, one thing that your God status for. Like me, I'm known for one thing. Like I'm known for many things, but there's one thing everybody will be like, no, just talk to Nyandia on that one. So always find one thing where you achieve God status at. It's something that even BN from Sauti Soul says. He got good at one really good thing. While you're good at a myriad of things, one that you're God status at, that will make sure you're indispensable in any environment that you're in. That will be one of the best things that you can do for yourself, because if you become really good at something in your 20s, you can imagine your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, the sort of thing you're going to be. Yeah. So find one thing that you're really, really good at, and then upskill and cross skill. You'll do great. You're in the right spaces. You're in the right company. If we are anything to go by, the future is bright. So you will be okay. You might be in situations where you feel like it's, iffy, but I promise you it's part of the journey. It's part of the learning. It's part of life. But in the next 5-7 years, we're going to be having very, very different conversations. So make sure you follow us, just so that you can have conversations with us individually, if that is what you're looking for. So that's my parting shot. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Nyandia. Yeah, go ahead, Sharon.
Thank you. For me, what I would say is, first of all, be confident in yourself and in your skills. Personally, I faced a lot of imposter syndrome when I was beginning my journey, and even when I already got a job and I'm working on my tasks. Sometimes you might find something that is challenging, and then you start questioning yourself: am I really equipped enough to sort out this issue? Am I really equipped to be in this job or to do this specific task? But you are chosen and you are there. So definitely that means that you are equipped. You have all the necessary things that you need to do your thing successfully. What you need to do first and foremost is be confident in yourself and in your skills. Remind yourself every single day that you're able to achieve a specific thing. You have the ability to move forward. You have the ability to progress. So don't listen to the fear that imposter syndrome will give or that will bring, but rely on, rather build confidence in yourself. Another thing, which I've already said, consistency compounds. Like when I say consistency compounds, it does. Every single thing that you do or you contribute to on a daily basis, at the end of like a month, it might be something small, but if you check at the end of a month, 2 months, 3 months, you have moved further than somebody who's relying on the moments where they feel motivated, or if something is wrong, they'll be like, I'll just do it tomorrow, or I'll do it at a perfect time. There's never a perfect time. So you just start, you do it, go ahead with it, keep contributing on a day-to-day basis. And at the end of it, you'll actually see that you'll have some level of growth and confidence. Consistency also builds confidence. So keep going at it. You'll do great. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sharon, for that powerful parting shot. Mary, you're up next.
Okay, so my parting shot for everyone in this meeting is own your space and don't shrink yourself just to fit in. So also don't be silent, learn to speak up for yourself because that will really take you a long way. And don't wait to start until you feel ready, or like don't wait for the moment when you're like, now I'm ready to start. No, just do it. Start where you are with what you have. And along the way, you'll meet people that will take you to even better levels. Yeah.
So thank you so much. I think Valentine might have dropped off along the way, but not to worry. So thank you so much. I cannot thank these amazing panelists enough for the insightful, the conversations that we've had. It's really been an amazing hour. I can't even imagine that it's almost 12:30. The conversation has really been going. I can see guys have been asking questions on the chat and our panelists have been answering. So maybe is there any pressing question that someone, I think Lil Mina, you've really raised your hand and I've noted. So would you like to speak? I think you had a question since the very first time we started with Valentine. Lil Mina? Okay, if Lil Mina, any other question, any burning question for our panelists as we have them here? Okay. No question. I think then we've really exhausted them on the chat. Okay, great. Oh, Neon Mudhoni. Mudhoni, yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Go ahead.
Okay, so I was thinking about networking where we network online. So what I've been doing recently is I started networking like last week. I've been getting messages from people. Some told me I'm conducting it like an interview question. So I was told what I was maybe encouraged was when you go to someone's LinkedIn profile, check through their posts, the similar interests, something like interests you or intrigues you, and maybe start a conversation from there. And then something else I was thinking of, is it okay when you ask someone maybe for like a virtual coffee chat where you ask them for maybe like 10 to 5 minutes of their time, where you conduct a Google Meet with them and maybe ask about how their tech journey has been, or maybe if they could mentor you. And that's all.
Yeah, that's okay. I get asked that quite a lot, like for virtual coffees. Interestingly, it's never been Kenyans. It's always been guys from out there. I think because to them it's a common thing. I think as Kenyans, maybe we are a little bit embarrassed or shy, or you might feel a little awkward. But I really get asked for a lot of the first time I was asked for one, I was so confused. I was like, what does this white dude want? And then I went there, he's like, no, this is just something common that I do. I like to connect with guys in my area. I was like, wow, people do this. So please do that. It's a very amazing, it's a very good thing. Do that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mudhoni, for that question. Anyone else who has something pressing before we now go to the closing remarks and one last photo with everyone? Okay, it seems that we are good. So I hope, I don't know if our speakers have put their details, if it's LinkedIn or wherever they're comfortable being reached out. Nyandia, you have something? Okay,
No, I've
okay.
just remembered I've not. So I want to just
Okay.
finish saying the chat.
Yeah, so in case you would like to deeper connect with our amazing panelists today, I think they can have that on the chat section. So yeah, I just want to say, first of all, thank you to our wonderful, wonderful participants who have been amazing, who have asked questions, who have engaged, who have been here since 10 a.m. We truly, truly appreciate you. And our amazing panelists, Nyandia, Sharon, Mary, and even Valentine in absentia. This webinar wouldn't have been as engaging without you here present. We have really learned a lot. We have given ourselves an assignment of stepping out of our comfort zone, of speaking of our amazing work and being our own advocate. So now I would like to invite our Mobi Girls Committee Chairperson Faith to give us the closing remarks. And then to end it all off, we'll turn on our camera so that we can see our beautiful faces and take one beautiful photo. Now that we can't meet physically, we can have a virtual photo. So yes, Diana, Evelyn will be sharing a WhatsApp link whereby if you would like to join the Mobi Girls community, and I saw a suggestion to do this, what kind of webinars quarterly. We shall see how we can do more of these webinars for sure. So Faith, if you're on the call, please do come online so that I am able to put you on the spotlight. So Faith, would like you to just give us the closing remarks, and then we can be able to end our beautiful webinar. Faith? Faith, you can go ahead. Just if you're not able to turn on your camera, it's fine. Just speak. It's okay.
Hi, Faith, we can't hear you.
Okay, sorry for that. I think Faith is having a bit of issues. Maybe I'll do it on her behalf, but just to say thank you to also the entire team here. Evelyn, my co-host, who has been amazing in supporting us, our amazing panelists, Nyandia, Mary, Sharon, and Valentine. I want to thank each and every single participant who has joined our call. For all the men, shout out to you guys for joining International Girls in ICT Day today. Thank you for supporting women in tech. This has been a really engaging webinar, and we do not take it for granted, the time that you have given us and the insights you have shared. We have shared the Mobi Girls community link on the chat section. If you would like to follow us and know more about us, please do follow our WhatsApp group. We do have a lot of opportunities, webinars, workshops that we post there, and we would love to engage more. Now I'd like to invite Evelyn to show us how we will go about this last picture with everyone. But I think the first step is let's just turn on our camera on for a few seconds so that we can have like a group photo. And then Sky, I remember you're the one to do our closing prayer. So just be on standby, Sky. So let's tuwashe camera. We just seeing you kidogo. I can I? Yeah, Faith, you can speak as we turn on our camera, as everyone turns on their camera. If you are able to speak, continue. Faith, can you hear us? Faith, you are unmuted. You can just go ahead and speak. Yeah, lovely to see you ladies. Amazing. Let's turn on our camera, take a photo, and we will be able to close with a word of prayer. Let's have a bit more guys turn on their camera. And then Evelyn, please cue us, and then so that you can take the photo.
Thank you all for joining. It was a wonderful session. Thank you to our speakers. Evelyn, the programs intern on the Mobi Girls now, the Mobi Girls community. I'm so grateful for all of you who attended, most especially our speakers, and for everyone for making time to attend this webinar. I have learned so much. I've learned when I joined Mobi Girls community, the first thing that I've learned is to speak up. I am still learning to speak up, but I have had so many opportunities to just speak and say something on my own. And I know many of us up here are like me, and we are getting to know how to speak for ourselves. So we are grateful for the speakers for giving us the insights that you've given us. So on this session, I would like to take a group photo with everyone. So those who have not turned on their cameras can just turn it on so that I can take a group photo for all of us.
I think we can take with the ones who are here now. Just smile for the camera, guys. And then one last one, big smiles, big smiles. Okay, we are good. Thank you so much. Thank you so much all for joining. I have been your moderator. Maybe Evelyn, just mute your mic. Yes, I have been your moderator for today, Claire Karani. I would now like to invite Sky to close off with a word of prayer.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Let's close with a word of prayer. Our dear God and King, we come before you this afternoon with thanksgiving in our hearts, O God. Thank you, God, for the session that we have just had, my Father and my God. We thank you for you are together with us. Thank you for all the speakers, Jehovah, King of Kings, even our moderator, God. We do not take it for granted that they planned this thing, Jehovah, King of all kings. And I thank you for, I know that we have learned so much, we have gotten so much encouragement. We have people to look up to, my Father and my God, even in tech. Women in tech, my Father and my God, we do not take that for granted. And we thank you for this opportunity that you've given us to just come together and to listen to what they have said, to ask questions, to interact, God. We thank you for we know that you had planned this day, my Father and my God, and we thank you for it has been a success, oh God. Will you be with us and help us to keep growing in tech, oh God, and even the ones of us who already have jobs, may they keep growing in their careers in the mighty name of God. And I pray that you may keep blessing us, Lord, wherever we are, my Father and my God. We thank you, Lord. We honor you and we bless you, for there is none like you. Thank you for it was a success. Thank you, my Father and my God, for everything that we have learned. God, may we put it into practice. Jehovah, King of all glory, and may we not forget it, oh God. And it is in Jesus' name we pray, believing and trusting. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Sky, for that beautiful prayer. And thank you so much to everyone for joining International Girls in ICT Day Webinar 2025. It was a success because of your presence, and we wish you a lovely, lovely afternoon ahead. Have a good weekend, guys. Bye.
Bye. Have a lovely one as well.
Bye. Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Bye.